Nneka had always been different from the other villagers. She was known not just for her beauty but for her mysterious ways. People came from all over to visit her shop, which was filled with herbs, charms, and strange trinkets. Some said she had a special gift, others whispered that she was a witch, but no one truly knew the truth. Nneka didn't mind the rumors. She was a businesswoman, and her customers came with their needs, ready to pay well for whatever she could provide. But Nneka didn't just sell herbs or potions, she sold something more powerful: spells. She cast them for money, love, revenge, or even fortune. One morning, a man named Chijioke came into her shop. He was troubled. His business was failing, and his family was on the brink of starvation. He had heard of Nneka's talents and, desperate, decided to seek her help. "I can help you," Nneka said, her voice smooth as honey. She asked him to tell her everything: his desires, his fears, his deepest wishes. "I need wealth," Chijioke confessed. "I need my business to thrive. Please cast a spell that will change my life." Nneka nodded, her eyes twinkling. She took a small vial filled with red liquid and muttered an incantation under her breath. With a flick of her fingers, the potion glowed briefly before fading. "Take this and pour it into the river before dawn tomorrow," she instructed. "The spell will work, but remember, magic always has a price." The next day, Chijioke followed her instructions. By the end of the week, his business had turned around. He was making more money than ever before, customers flooded his store, and he had finally begun to breathe again. But something was wrong. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him. Strange things started to happen. His dreams were filled with eerie whispers, and shadows seemed to follow him wherever he went. One night, he went to Nneka to thank her. She smiled, but there was a darkness behind her eyes. "You're doing well," she said. "But remember, magic comes at a cost. You must pay your dues." Chijioke left her shop uneasy. He knew he had to be careful now. Not long after, a young woman named Ada came to Nneka. She was in love with a man who didn't notice her. She had tried everything: flowers, letters, even songs, but he never seemed to care. Nneka listened patiently, her eyes glowing with interest. She promised to help Ada, but again, she warned her about the price of magic. "I will cast a spell," Nneka said, "but remember, love is fickle. You may get what you want, but it might not be what you expect." Ada nodded eagerly, willing to take the chance. That night, Nneka created a potion with white petals and sparkling dust. She whispered ancient words over it and handed it to Ada. "Use this tonight. The spell will bring him to you," Nneka said. "But remember, once the spell is cast, there's no turning back." The next day, Ada's crush, Emeka, came to her, professing his love. He was more passionate than she had ever imagined. But as days passed, Ada realized the truth: Emeka's love wasn't real. It was the spell, not his heart, that drove him to her. He began to grow possessive, jealous, and even violent. Ada rushed back to Nneka in panic, pleading for help. But Nneka only smiled knowingly. "Love is powerful, child, but it can destroy you if you're not careful," she warned. "The spell has done its work. Now, you must learn to live with it or undo it yourself." Word spread through the village about Nneka's magic, and the people became divided. Some believed in her power and were willing to pay any price for her spells. Others grew fearful, realizing that Nneka's magic always had consequences. One evening, a group of villagers, led by Chijioke, confronted Nneka in her shop. They demanded she stop using her powers, for they believed her spells were bringing misery, not blessings. But Nneka just smiled, her expression cold. "Magic is a tool," she said softly. "It doesn't care about good or evil. It simply gives you what you ask for. And once it has been unleashed, it cannot be controlled." As the villagers left her shop, some hopeful, others fearful, Nneka returned to her counter and began preparing another spell. She didn't care what others thought. She had power, and that was all that mattered. As Nneka stood by the fire, ready to cast another spell for her next customer, she thought to herself, "Everyone seeks something: money, love, revenge, but they never ask what they must give in return. Magic isn't just a gift, it's a debt. And with that, she closed her eyes and whispered her next incantation, knowing the price would always be paid, whether they realized it